the European circuit and so on?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it was a great, I think in 1969 I went to Greymouth for the Maha Cup, and I was very privileged to stay at Dave Mackenzie's house. And I saw his Boston medal. And Dave, when I first saw Dave come in, I imagined him to be like a Snellbelt. But you know, little Dave, 5'0", came in. It was completely against everything that I had imagined that a marathon runner would be. His parents, wonderful, wonderful people. Dave, just a superb, determined athlete. And when I went out to see where Dave trained, he was one of the toughest of the toughest. Incredibly tough guy. They come tough from the West Coast. And so meeting wonderful people had a big influence on my life. So I knew that with my God-given talent and the wonderful support and love of my family and the friends and the support of role models shaped my life. And that's why I think I like to still give back and to express myself even to this day.
But you guys ran a lot. You were like hobos, you ran everywhere. Whereas now, you know, everything is, you know, guarantee money down and all this sort of stuff. I mean, was that a good era to be involved in, Rod?
I think it was the last of the free spirit. I mean, when we were first paid, I mean, I can't believe it. I was first paid for a race in Italy at the stadium in front of 20,000 people. The envelope came and I thought it was like, felt like a scarf or a tie. And I opened up and it was cash. And I looked around and I thought, is this allowed to be done? And we're talking 1973. So the fact is that finally, after all the things we've been through and the struggle, I used to hold 3 jobs down to buy shoes and to travel to Wellington for my championships. Finally, I was getting some compensation for not so much for the time, to offset the costs of doing what I was doing. So I wasn't being paid to run. These are for your expenses, because it didn't cover much more than that. So we sort of figured, it didn't take long, you know, if we do 5 of these a week and we might make this, and you know, we can perhaps stay away longer, and maybe I don't have to sell my car, and maybe I don't have to hold 3 jobs down. That's what it meant.
What about, just talk briefly about Walker and Quacks, because you're so associated with them in the public mind.
Yeah.
Walker first as an athlete and then as a travelling companion and so on.
John, certainly the most talented athlete that I've ever been with, the most talented. I wouldn't say he was the laziest, but he was a very lazy trainer. He had to be motivated. He needed to be motivated by the people around him. But that was all right too, because he knew how to plug into this. He knew how to use. I spent more time with John Walker in the first year of my marriage than I did with my wife. So John and I travelled extensively from 73 to virtually 78. So it's 5 years. Summer and winter, never a crossword. Never a crossword. We were very compatible. We got along very, very well.
But competitive?
Very competitive. Training, John knew I would beat him. John never used to race me in training because he knew I could beat him. Interesting enough, I was the first New Zealander to beat John Walker over 800 metres after the Commonwealth Games. John didn't tell anybody that because it was in an altitude training camp in Italy. It was a time trial, but it was a race. I was the only person to beat John Walker in 1975. 1975, when John Walker set the world record, August 12th in Gothenburg, first man under 350. You have a look at his year.
You beat him in Switzerland or somewhere?
Zurich.
Yeah.
I was the first person to beat him after he set the world record. We were like the Fredericks Johnson thing, you know.
And Quacks?
Quacksy and I were always, we saw ourselves as being quite competitive. So we were always treating each other with respect. We didn't train a lot together. If we did, we didn't show anything. I'd be quite happy to show all my cars to John, but I wouldn't show them to Dick. So Dick and I had a different relationship. A friendship, nevertheless. Funny times, laughter. I like Dick for his sophistication, and those sort of things. They were nice, but as travelling mates, Walker and I were by far the best, and we complement each other. It really was. It was just a wonderful relationship and time. And when I reflect on it, it's sad that we don't see more of one another in these days. But life's gone on, and we do have different agendas. But I won't ever forget those marvellous years that we had, and they were so uncomplicated as compared with today.